Yep, Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Yeah, please start, Mr. Ashok.
Yeah, Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Three of Meher Baba's favorite couplets of Hafiz, a mystical Persian poet, refuting a fortunate slave, carry out every command of the master without any question of why and what. What you hear from the master, never say it is wrong, because, my dear, the fault lies in your own incapacity to understand him. I am slave of the master who has released me from ignorance. Whatever my master does is of the highest benefit to all concerned. Hafiz, Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Thanks,
So,
Karthik.
we are back to God Speaks, and we are picking up from where we stopped last time. And we have actually, we were reading chapter 6. And in chapter 6, we specifically were going through the references to a supplement. And here we are, yeah. So we stopped here. Um, and the references were to two supplements, 11 and 12. We went there and finished 11, and we are to start from 12 to continue our reading. Yeah. So that's the context. Any thoughts before we get started? Okay. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Supplement number 12, kinds of powers. Spirituality and spiritualism are two different things. Spirituality has nothing to do with any kind of power in any form. Spirituality is the path of love for God and obedience and surrender to the perfect master. As one travels the path, one comes across powers on the planes of consciousness. Those on the planes from first to fourth are sometimes tempted to demonstrate these powers. There are three kinds of powers: the divine powers of the fourth plane, the occult powers of the first three planes of consciousness. These are called the mystic powers. Number three, other occult powers. So now, number one, the divine powers of the fourth plane are the almighty powers of God. They are the source of all powers, whether mystic or other occult powers. The mystic and anybody said something?
Karthik, I was just, I just unmuted. Basically, if you can underline the spirituality part in the previous paragraph. The spirituality is, uh,
Spirit
एक minute,
Evala.
spirituality, the path of love for God and obedience and surrender to. Yeah, this is. I think it is worth highlighting. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry to disturb you. Huh?
Yeah, yeah, no problem. So I'll start again from number one. The divine powers of the fourth plane are the almighty powers of God. They are the source of all powers, whether mystic or other occult powers. The mystic and other occult powers are infinitely insignificant in comparison with the divine powers. The divine powers remain always the same because God is always one and the same. The occult powers, whether they are off the planes or not, are different in kind and vary in expression. The miracles performed through the manifestation of the divine powers by the avatar and the kutub are called mujizat. These are performed for the good of all, on a limited scale by the kutub and on a universal scale by the avatar. However, these can be performed for any individual in close association with the avatar or the kutub. The miracles performed indirectly by those on the fifth and sixth planes with the help of the divine powers are called karamat. The display of the mystic powers by those on the first up through the third plane cannot in fact be termed miracles. Such a display is nothing but a show of powers that they come across while traversing the planes. Such a display of powers is called Shubhada. When the one on the fourth plane makes good use of the divine powers and performs a miracle, it can be termed as Karamat e Mojeza, which, when he makes a bad use of them, that is, misuses the divine powers of the fourth plane, it is called Mojeza e Shubhada. The fourth plane is regarded as the threshold of the mental sphere, and so the misuse of the divine powers on the fourth plane results in a fall as far back as the stone state and results in disintegration of consciousness. So let's just see what all is said here, right? So, firstly, there is a clear distinction between the divine powers of the fourth plane and everything else. What is everything else? The everything else is uh, occult powers or mystical powers, which are the powers that are available to the first to the third plane. Then there is other occult powers. So then we take up the first one, which is the divine powers, and in that, Baba says there is two types for positive use and negative use. And yeah, I think that's the key thing. Moj, I'm struggling with that word. Karamat e mojeza and Karamat e shobada. Okay, now let's continue to number two, occult powers. The occult powers of the first three planes, called the mystic powers, cannot be misused by the aspirant on these planes, though they sometimes are tempted to display them. These mystic powers are different and vary in expression, such as reading the minds of others, reciting words or passages from a book without seeing it, allowing themselves to be buried alive for hours together, etc. The powers of the planes are not induced. These powers are ever accessible to those on the planes within their limited environment and, as such, need no concentrated effort to display them. This display of powers should not be confused with the demonstrations of mind readers and of others who put on stage performances. The one on the third plane of consciousness can raise dead subhuman creatures, but can never make a dead human being alive. This he can do because of the nearness to and warmth of the divine powers of the fourth plane. But one on the fourth plane can raise the dead, including human beings, by the use of the divine powers of the fourth plane. The one on the third plane can change his physical form at will, and one who does this is known as Abdal. This act is also a display of the mystic powers, but not the misuse of powers. However, this act should not be confused with the dematerialization or materialization of the human forms by the tantrics. I think Abdal is the same as also being able to remove parts of your body and put them back together, right? That's Abdal. Okay, let's go to the third section, which is other occult powers. Other occult powers. Other occult powers have nothing to do with spirituality or with the mystical powers of the planes. These occult powers are of two types: superior occult powers, A, B, inferior occult powers. The one who has these occult powers can make good or bad use of the same. Good use of occult powers helps one to put himself on the planes of the path and may even make one a Mahayogi. Bad use of these occult powers makes one suffer intensely in the next human form. Good use of superior occult power puts one on the fifth plane of consciousness after 4 lives, reincarnations. Superior types of occult powers are derived from tantric exercises as chilla nashini or repetition of certain mantras, etc. The one who holds these powers can perform the so-called miracles such as levitation, flying, and floating in the air, dematerialization and materialization, etc. Inferior types of occult powers need no tantric or any special exercises. They are had through sanskaras of past lives. For example, if someone has done certain good deeds many times in the past, his next incarnation may give him the faculty of inferior occult powers without undergoing any strenuous exercises. His sanskaras give him the faculty of inferior occult powers such as clairvoyance, clairaudience, healing, producing sweets or money seemingly out of nothing, etc. All such capabilities form part of the lower or inferior type of occult powers. If one makes good use of the inferior type of occult powers, he derives superior type of occult powers in his next life without undergoing any tantric exercises. Likewise, the one who puts to good use his faculty of hypnotism gains the superior type of occult powers in his next life. Just so that we know these two words, clairvoyance, supposed faculty of perceiving things or events in the future or beyond normal sensory contact. So it's basically talking to somebody who is not present and so on and so forth. Clairaudience, no. Power or faculty of hearing something not present to the ear but regarded as having objective reality. I think it's the same as similar to this. Yeah. Okay. So let's get back to God Speaks combined. So which of these powers excite those in the audience today? What would you like to have before we continue?
Nothing.
Nothing. Very good.
No, no, if we have the grace of the perfect master, we should have divine powers.
I trust
That's
Baba
not a
more than
necessary,
I
yeah,
trust
that's
myself.
not a necessarily right thing, Ashok. You, if you get the grace of the master, it does not mean that you get divine powers.
Hmm.
I would just say divine powers are not really required. And I think if we have the right attitude towards them, then I think you're better off when you traverse the plains. But hopefully, all of us traverse through the plains in a veiled way, so we have the least chance of problems and
Misuse.
temptations of the plains. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Temptations, misuse, everything. Yes, yeah.
Correct.
Okay, so let's.
And the dangers of the fourth plane are again reiterated. So it's really a very, one has to be very, very careful. And as you rightly said, if you can go veiled, that's the best.
Yes. So again, we are already, so there's nothing to be feared in the fourth plane. It's just that you need to be aware.
Right.
When I said when I said already, I'm suggesting to the temptations and the great allures of Maya we are already facing a lot more, right? So in before, even before the planes, you are constantly bombarded with so many choices, so many temptations, so many sanskaric traps that I don't think there is anything to be feared in the fourth plane. Oh, we should not do this, or we should. I think we, with the right level of um, alignment with the master and dedication to the recognition of the true values and understanding that powers will show up, we should be in a better position. We will know that powers will show up, and then don't worry beyond the point. Don't get carried away. Yeah, I think that's a better way. Don't get, like, we won't get carried away if we have the knowledge. Okay, so let's get started. The following incident in the life of a Hindu master shows the disregard in which it is held by perfect masters and what is held by uh, what is, yeah. So okay, it's I'll start from here. In fact, miracle mongering by the average yogi is not only poles apart from the spiritual path, but is actually a hindrance to the individual's evolution towards spiritual progress. The following incident in the life of a Hindu master shows the disregard in which it is held by perfect masters who are truth personified. The master was one day by the river's edge waiting for one of the little ferry boats that take passengers across the stream for the diminutive fare of 1 anna. A yogi, seeing him thus waiting, came up to him, literally walked across the river and back, and said, "That was much easier, was it not?" The master smilingly replied, "Yes, and had less value than that of the boat fare, 1 anna." The ability to exercise constant control over one's low desires is no mean achievement. Success in establishing a lasting sublimation of all desires is indeed a greater one. But the greatest is the burning away of all one's desires once and for all, which divine love alone can do. As there is never any show about divine love, this burning in love is always without smoke, that is, without show. There are times when an outward expression of God love may amount to heroism, but to make at any time a mere show of one's love for God for the sake of show amounts to an insult to God. That is why Kabir says that in the act of meditation, when one assumes an asan posture to meditate upon God, one should at that time learn to avoid making any display such as the swaying motion of one's body, even if it is only for one's own gratification. And there are two references from the supplement which we should go and read and come back. It's Kabir.
No, I could never get this. Why Baba included here the swaying while chanting. In the south, it's very common to chant any Sanskrit slokas like Vishnu Sahasranama or Lalita
Well,
Sahasranama.
Baba didn't
People
say
sway.
this. Well, Baba didn't say this. This is Kabir's. This Baba has quoted Kabir, and I
Mhm.
think one can take it at general value and need not be again very nervous if you end up swaying when you're chanting or when you're meditating, because I agree with you. I exactly know what you're saying. In fact,
Mm,
I know of people who even are doing the smallest of meditation.
mm.
There is a tendency for slow sway that comes to the body. Now, again, this
Yeah.
is not, this is almost involuntary. That's probably their reaction to slowing of the mind or whatever, right? Whatever that they're doing from a meditation standpoint. I don't think one should be very worried, but I think the bigger point that's being made is here, right? As there is never any show about divine love, this burning in love is always without smoke, that is, without show. There are times when an outward expression of God love may amount to heroism, but to make at any time a mere show of one's love for God for the sake of show amounts to an insult to God. So, if it is involuntary and natural and not for show, I think one shouldn't be worried about it. That's my personal opinion. Let's go to 13. Meditation. A scheme for beginners based on a study of the divine theme by Meher Baba. Meditation has often been misunderstood as being a mechanical process of forcing the mind upon some idea or object. It is therefore only natural that most people should find great difficulty in their attempts to coerce the mind in a particular direction or to pin it down to one particular thing. Any purely mechanical handling of the mind is not only irksome, but is ultimately bound to be unsuccessful. The first principle which the aspirant should therefore remember is that the mind can be controlled and directed in meditation only according to the laws inherent in the makeup of the mind itself and not by the application of any feats of simple willpower. Many people who do not technically meditate are often found to be deeply and intensely engrossed in systematic and clear thinking about some practical problem or theoretical subject. In a sense, their mental process is very much like meditation, inasmuch as the mind is engrossed in intense thinking about a particular subject, matter to the exclusion of all irrelevant things. The reason meditation is often easy and spontaneous in such a mental process is that the mind is dwelling upon a subject in which it is interested and which it increasingly understands. But the spiritual tragedy about ordinary trains of thought is that they are not directed toward things that really matter. The subject matter of meditation must therefore always be carefully chosen and it must be spiritually important. In order to attain success in meditation, we must not only get the mind interested in the divine subjects or truths, but we must also begin to try to understand and appreciate them. Intelligent meditation is a natural process of the mind which avoids the monotonous rigidity and regularity of mechanical meditation. I repeat the last line. Intelligent meditation is a natural process of the mind which avoids the monotonous rigidity and regularity of mechanical meditation. It therefore becomes not only spontaneous and inspiring, but easy and successful. I pause for a minute as we are getting live darshan from the Samadhi. Baba ki jai. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Can you enlarge that?
Ah, yes, I can.
Jai Baba.
Okay, he stopped. All right. I should have done that a little earlier. No problem. Okay. Let's continue. Since intelligent meditation consists in thorough thinking about a particular subject, it follows that the best way to meditate would be to make a brief and clear exposition of an appropriate subject. For this purpose, there could be nothing better than the divine theme with its charts, which is reproduced in the following section. The process of meditation which Meher Baba recommends has three stages. In the first stage, the aspirant will read through the divine theme daily, studying the charts also and thinking about it thoroughly as he does so. In the second stage, when the aspirant has the entire subject at his fingertips, actual reading becomes unnecessary, but the subject matter of the exposition will be mentally reviewed with the help of the charts when necessary. In the third stage, which will develop naturally out of the second, it will be quite
हर टाइम ऐसा
unnecessary.
हुआ आज मेरे को रिकॉर्ड किया रिकॉर्ड ही नहीं हुआ नहीं
Okay,
दबाता हूँ आगे रुक जाता है जाके
I'm going to mute Sanjay. Yeah. In the third stage, which will develop naturally out of the second, it will be quite unnecessary for the mind to review the words or the thoughts in the exposition separately and consecutively, or even to refer to the facts, and all the discursive thinking about the subject matter will come to an end. At this stage of meditation, the mind will no longer be occupied with any trains of thought, but will have a clear understanding of the sublime truths expressed in the exposition. So, next one is actual divine theme by Meher Baba: evolution, reincarnation, and the path to realization. Introduction to the charts. And by the way, the charts are also here, I think. Right? Yes. Okay, let's go back. Any reactions to meditation? Okay, let me continue with the divine theme: evolution, reincarnation, and the path to realization. Introduction to the charts. A soul becomes perfect after passing through evolution, reincarnation, and the process of realization. There's a footnote on. Okay, so this is C chart 9. A soul becomes Z soul. Chart 9.
No, there are a couple of charts.
Yeah, this is
No,
the one, right?
they are in the divine chart. No, not this one. They are in the divine theme. There are a couple of charts.
The right here, I think.
Go down, still further.
Yeah, that's what. Right here, there are two charts. I thought I have them even.
That's one. This is the
Yeah,
one of them.
okay. This is 9.
Yeah.
So A
Very,
and Z. A becomes Z. So that's what I wanted to
yeah,
show.
right.
So A is at the starting of the process, the stone souls, and
Evolution.
you reach the after realization, you reach the Z state, which is the God state. You go through the entire process of evolution, reincarnation here through multiple births, and then realization or involution, and you're in Z.
In this chart, as you have shown now,
Yeah.
there is a red cap which is last at the end. What does it represent?
0 sanskaras. So if you see here are the sanskaras. Sanskaras increase, so there is a subtle increase in the red color, and it is maximum here, and then they start decreasing to a point where at the point of Manonash, there's nothing. So if you see, there is a small change in the amount of sanskaras. So it gradually increases from the stone state. Then by the time you get to the human, it's at max. Then it comes down. Yeah. Okay. So now let's get back to where we were. In the process of reincarnation, this soul retains its full consciousness and exchanges, that is, alternatingly experiences the diverse sanskaras in itself, and in the process of realization, this soul retains its full consciousness, but its sanskaras become fainter and fainter till they all disappear and only consciousness remains. While becoming faint, gross sanskaras become subtle sanskaras become mental sanskaras, and finally they all disappear. Up to the human form, the winding process of sanskaras becomes stronger and stronger in the process of evolution. In the human form, in the process of reincarnation, the winding retains its full strength. But in the process of realization, the sanskaras gradually unwind themselves till in the God state they are completely unwound. God, the oversoul, alone is real. Nothing exists but God. The different souls are in the oversoul and one with it. The processes of evolution, reincarnation, and realization are all necessary in order to enable the soul to gain self consciousness. In the process of winding, sanskaras become instrumental for the evolution of consciousness, though they also give sanskaric bindings. And in the process of unwinding, sanskaric attachments are annihilated, though the consciousness which has been gained is fully retained. In the process of the winding of sanskaras, the soul goes through 7 stages of descent. And in the process of unwinding, the soul goes through 7 stages of ascent. To make it easy to go back and forth, yeah, here it is. So this is the ascent and this is the descent, right? So to see it in better context, the descent is shown here through the forms. So till here is the gross world, till here, and all of that is the descent. And then you get the ascent here from after human to, I mean, from the realization process, you get the ascent. Again, one of the ways to see this is in the simplified version of the staircase, the 2 staircases that we saw earlier from beams. Yeah. So let's get back. I'll continue. But the phenomena of descent as well as ascent are both illusory. The soul is everywhere and indivisibly infinite, and it does not move or descend or ascend. The souls of all men and women of all nationalities, castes, and creeds are really one, and their experiences of good and evil, or of fighting and helping, of waging wars and living in peace, are all a part of illusion and delusion, because all these experiences are gained through bodies and minds, which in themselves are nothing. Before the world of forms and duality came into existence, there was nothing but God, an indivisible and boundless ocean of power, knowledge, and bliss. But this ocean was unconscious of itself. Picture to yourself the ocean as absolutely still and calm, unconscious of its power, knowledge, and bliss, and unconscious that it is the ocean. The billions of drops which are in the ocean do not have any consciousness. They do not know that they are drops, nor that they are in the ocean, nor they are a part of the ocean. This represents the original state of reality. This original state of reality comes to be disturbed by an urge to know itself. This urge was always latent in the ocean, and when it begins to express itself, it endows the drops with individuality. When this urge makes the still water move, there immediately springs up numerous bubbles or forms around the drops. And it is these bubbles which give individuality to the drops. The bubbles do not and cannot actually divide the indivisible ocean. They cannot separate the drop from the ocean. They merely give to these drops a feeling of separateness or limited individuality. Now, let us study the life of one drop soul through its different stages. Owing to the arising of the bubble, the drop soul, which was completely unconscious, is invested with individuality or a feeling of separateness, as well as with very slight consciousness. This consciousness, which has sprung up in the drop soul, is not of itself nor of the ocean, but it is of the bubble or the form, which in itself is nothing. This imperfect bubble at this stage is represented by the form of a stone. After some time, this bubble or form bursts, and there springs up in its place another bubble or form. Now, when a bubble bursts, two things happens. There is an increase in consciousness, and there is a twist or consolidation of impressions or sanskaras accumulated during the life of the previous bubble. The consciousness of the drop soul has now slightly increased, but the drop soul is still conscious only of this new bubble of form and not of itself nor of the ocean. This new bubble is represented by the form of the metal. This new bubble or form also bursts in due course of time, and simultaneously there is a further increase in consciousness and a fresh twist or consolidation of sanskaras, which gives rise to the emergence of another type of bubble or form. This process continues right through the course of evolution, which covers the
I
stages
think
of.
we may slightly discuss this paragraph and
Sure,
reread this once again.
sure.
Uh,
You, so, would you like to say something which we can look for when we are rereading it?
this creation of the say different aspect of this form, mental and other spheres, is explained here. I think we need to understand that properly.
Sure.
See, you can read it once again. We
This
will think
paragraph,
on
right?
these lines because
Sure.
starting with this, there is a bubble which bursts and once again forms another bubble. And it gets attached with something. And these are the, say, spheres which complete the form in the form of the subtle, mental, and all that.
In fact,
So
we have
it's
not even gone there. We have not even
yes,
gone there. So the bubbles that are bursting and reforming are basically at this stage. So, so this is the initial bubble.
yes, yes,
Then the bubble is bursting, but immediately it gathers the consciousness, gathers the sanskaras of the previous bubble, which is the stone bubble, and goes to the next bubble, which is the metal bubble. And it has two things. It has increase of consciousness, and the second, it also carries forward the sanskaras of the stone bubble. But it's like you rightly said, one bubble gets burst with another bubble getting created. Yet the bubble neither recognizes its true nature as the ocean and is still limited by the bubble thought, the bubble identity, the bubble limitations, right? So, anyway, it's a good idea to read it again.
See, just want to add one point there. See,
Sure.
second point is the twist, right? So can you go back to that diagram?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
So I
actually
think
see
what
the twist. Yeah.
Karthik was right in mentioning about, let's take the stone souls. What happens? A soul experiences, let's say, a black stone. Okay, and after many years, what happens? The soul disconnects with the black stone, and there is a slight increase in the consciousness. And let's say, for example, you took up the redstone. I'm just taking an example. That is the first part of increase in the consciousness. But once the soul experiences all the different kinds of stones, then there is a twist. The twist he meant is changing from stone to metal. That is the twist he's talking about there.
Yes,
Yeah,
possibly
thanks
I
for
mistook that.
clarifying that.
Possibly
For the
I
worlds.
mistook that metal to mental. Probably we will read it once again.
Sure. Thanks for elaborating, Ravi, where you also brought
Jeva.
out where you brought out the multiple stone forms and the gathering of increasing consciousness through that state, and then finally making the flip. So let's go back and read it. Now let us study the life of one drop soul through its different stages. Owing to the arising of the bubble, the drop soul, which was completely unconscious, is invested with individuality or a feeling of separateness, as well as with very slight consciousness. This consciousness, which has sprung up in the drop soul, is not of itself nor of the ocean, but it is of the bubble or the form, which in itself is nothing. This imperfect bubble at this stage is represented by the form of a stone. After some time, this bubble or form bursts, and there springs up in its place another bubble or form. Now, when a bubble bursts, two things happens. There is an increase in consciousness, and there is a twist or consolidation of impressions or sanskaras accumulated during the life of the previous bubble. The consciousness of the drop soul has now slightly increased, but the drop soul is still conscious only of this new bubble or form and not of itself, nor of the ocean. This new bubble is represented by the form of the metal. This new
Okay.
bubble or form also bursts in due course of time, and simultaneously, there is a further increase in consciousness and a fresh twist or consolidation of sanskaras, which gives rise to the emergence of another type of bubble or form. So,
The point stressed here, which we need to make a clarity, is that it is unconscious all through of its own self or the ocean, but it is conscious of only the form
bubble.
of bubble. Yes.
The wrong
No,
identity,
Wrong
no,
idea.
it's
the
not even.
identification. Yeah.
No, it's not even conscious of its own self. See, the consciousness is also evolving. So until the animal form, the consciousness doesn't even know. Animal doesn't know it's an animal until it reaches the human form. That is where when we get the mind part of it, ability to discriminate, to identify. Okay, I'm a human being. Uh, we have the ability to think, but until then, the consciousness is still evolving with the form.
Yes.
Yeah. So the twist is when you change a kingdom, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So till then you're in the you just you're flipping within a kingdom. So you're not actually
Yeah.
twisting. The twist is basically a significant movement from one kingdom to another. Is that the way
Okay.
to
Yeah. Right. Right.
interpret that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Baba also talked about it, right? In terms of stones, he changed it to metal in the
Mm.
description.
Yeah. Here. Yes. Okay. Let's go back. This process continues right through the course of evolution, which covers the stages of stones, metals, vegetables, worms, fishes, birds, and animals. Every
I hope
time that the
Mamaji
previous,
got the clarification from there, right? The question he had. I, I hope he got the clarification.
yeah, I'm
Yes,
just waiting.
reading that second time made it very clear. And while reading, I mistook metal to mental, and I had a
Oh,
confusion.
okay. I see. Okay.
That also is clear. Okay.
Sure. Continuing, every time that the previous bubble or form bursts, it gains more consciousness and adds one twist to the already accumulated sanskaras until it reaches the human bubble or form in which the ever increasing consciousness becomes full and complete. The process of the winding up of sanskaras consists of these regular twists, and it is these twists which keep the consciousness gained by the drop soul directed and fixed towards the bubble or the form instead of towards its real self, even when consciousness is fully developed in the human form. So the, the winding up keeps happening till here. There is no winding up here. You just become the human, right? And then you start winding out, winding down, or whatever, right? Winding down till the human, you're winding and consolidating that, and your consciousness is at peak. Now, how is that signified? Is there
It's
a
in a automated format, you know. The stone, it has got only certain sanskaras, it exhibits, that's about it. And then as it goes into vegetable, it takes the sunlight, it takes the water, it takes the earth, and then it grows. That's about it. And worm, you know, there's a moment, and it eats, and this excretes and reproduces. All those things starts. The subtle part of it starts. That's how it evolves until the human being stage.
correct? So when you say automatic, it's all you're suggesting is it's kind of rule based. There's nothing. There is
Yeah.
very, very, very little role for free will. There is nothing. There is no
Yes.
sophistication in the application of viveka. There is no
Yep.
sophistication. There's absence of it, right? There's no
Absence of it.
discrimination. There is no capability to decide. It just goes through the motions. So that's what
Correct. That's it.
Ravi says when he says automatic.
And additionally, what we can add is this is the process of the genes,
Yes,
which are
where
not actually attached with the
well,
say,
the
cell.
genes are right there till you get to the Z, but the genes dominate. So that's the better way of understanding it. So you have no control, and the rule based execution of evolution and the identification, wrong identification with the bodies and everything is going on in a natural and, to use Ravi's phrase, automatic manner.
Yes.
Yeah, let's continue. On gaining the human form, the second process begins. This process is that of reincarnation. At this point, the process of the winding up of sanskaras comes to an end. The drop soul takes numerous human forms one by one, and these forms are exactly 84 lakhs in number. These human forms are sometimes those of man and sometimes those of woman, and they change nationalities, appearance, color, and creed. The drop soul, through human incarnations, experiences itself sometimes as a beggar and sometimes as a king, and thus gathers experiences of the opposites of happiness or misery according to its good or bad sanskaras. In reincarnation, that is, in its successive and several human forms, the drop soul retains its full consciousness but continues to have alternating experiences of opposite sanskaras till the process of realization begins. And during this process of realization, the sanskaras get unwound. Before we get to realization, so here you are, there is men and women, then there is all the races, and then the religions. So all of these different experiences you're going through, the winding has stopped. And when you go through all of this, the unwinding starts. So let's go back. And during this process of realization, the sanskaras get unwound. In reincarnations, there is a spending up of sanskaras, but this spending up is quite different from the unwinding of the sanskaras, which takes place during the process of realization. The spending up of sanskaras itself creates new sanskaras which bind the soul. But the unwinding of sanskaras does not itself create fresh sanskaras, and it is intended to undo the very strong grip of sanskaras in which the drop soul is caught. So here you are spending, here you are winding, and then you start unwinding here. So three distinct things that you can do with the sanskaras. One, winding. Second, spending in the human form. Third, unwinding, which is in the process of realization.
I think you can read that paragraph on prayer now.
Sure.
And Jai Baba Karthik, one more thing. In the process of evolution, the sanskars are added, as Mamaji said, automatic or on autopilot. I mean, it happens on its own. There is nothing which we do. It's natural sanskaras, right? Because they are the uh, impressions gathered in the process of evolution.
Yes.
Yes, discourses gives it a name as well. You're absolutely right. It's natural sanskaras. Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
What
Sure.
science knows till now is only this natural
Natural
samskara
sanskaras.
based on
Exactly.
genetics. Okay.
Based on genetics and based on, I mean, yeah, they've also mastered evolution. They've mastered all of that. Yes. I'll reread. On gaining the human form, the second process begins. This process is that of reincarnation. At this point, the process of the winding up of sanskaras comes to an end. The drop soul takes numerous human forms one by one, and these forms are exactly 84 lakhs in number. These human forms are sometimes those of man and sometimes those of woman, and they change nationalities, appearance, color, and creed. The drop soul, through human incarnations, experiences itself sometimes as a beggar and sometimes as a king, and thus gathers experiences of the opposites of happiness or misery according to its good or bad sanskaras. In reincarnation, that is, in its successive and several human forms, the drop soul retains its full consciousness but continues to have alternating experiences of opposite sanskaras till the process of realization begins. And during this process of realization, the sanskaras get unwound. In reincarnations, there is a spending up of sanskaras, but this spending up is quite different from the unwinding of the sanskaras, which takes place during the process of realization. The spending up of sanskaras itself creates new sanskaras which bind the soul.
Yes.
But the
That's the point.
unwinding of sanskaras does not itself create fresh sanskaras, and it is intended to undo the very strong grip of sanskaras in which the drop soul is caught.
That's the last sentence is the crux of it. So we have to clearly understand that the 84 lakh times we are likely to increase our sanskara or decrease, but mostly it increases. The accounting goes this way or that way. But in the next stage of realization or unwinding of sanskaras, we are not getting to the positive or additional sanskara. We are gradually living out each of these sanskaras to reach a zero sum level at the end of sanskaras.
Yeah.
You know, this makes me think of one question. Why does a human spend 84 lakh
Yeah.
reincarnations?
That is
Uh,
to experience all the shades of sanskaras, both positive, negative, uh, and then realize after this whole lot of cycle that this is all bogus, this is all unnecessary. So let me give up all these sanskaras. So once you reach that stage, you will go into the next phase of unwinding, okay, getting rid of the sanskaras. So each time you go to the say zero level or the negative level, constantly giving up sanskaras, not adding anything further. Whereas in this process, you try to give up or to add, both can happen. Somebody tries to give up sanskaras, but in the process adds. But somebody wants to increase all these sanskaras, evil activities and all that, and he accumulates. So the all shades of things happen in this cycle of 84 lakh lives.
Another way of looking at the question from Ravi is let's look at mathematics, right?
Yes.
So, what's permutation and combination, right? So, permutations and combination tells you that if you have a set of objects, what are the different combinations and it's basically ordering of the attributes in a way where you create different sets. So, if you take permutations and combinations, I would say mathematically 84 lakh is the max possible permutations and combination of all capital ALL, all possible sanskaras that exist. So the logic being, if you have exhausted all the permutations and combinations that are possible to be that are possible in creation. I have been a woman, I have been a man in all races. I have been a king, I have been a pauper, I have been a murderer, I have been a saint. I have done all of that. Then there is nothing else to be experienced. So that's 84 lakhs. And in fact, to further this theory, according to Ward Parks, he has actually tried to map this to see if there is any genetic logic to this. So if you take the strands of genes, so you have the chromosomes, and if you create a permutation and combination of all possibilities, I believe he referred to, I mean, he was referring to one of the Baba lovers who, with a scientific and mathematical bent of mind, who actually went down this path to see if there is a correlation. And I think I couldn't find anything online about it, but in a conversation, this was mentioned, right? Does that
Okay.
answer your question, Ravi?
Uh, yeah, I was listening to who is this couple? They're now in Mehrabad talking about God speaks, all these things. I forgot her name.
Cyrus and
Cyrus
uh,
Kambata and Lakshmi.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
One
Soumya.
time, Cyrus was reading this, and then one gentleman talked about these chromosomes and all those things, and I forgot completely. But anyway, let me come back to the question. We don't have to, this is 84 lakhs is only for those people who don't care about God.
Exactly.
Okay. So then
So,
when they are
in
nearing
fact, I have a problem
84,000,
with the word here. So, if you see, when I was reading, I was thinking of exactly that. So, 84, yeah, yeah. So, and these forms are exactly 84 lakhs in number. These are not necessarily 84 lakhs in number, right? So if you have the grace of the master, if you are able to recognize true values, if you are putting discourses to practice, and living the right life, then you have a chance to skip many of these.
Yes,
Go on,
yes.
Ravi. I think that's what you were saying.
yeah, kind of. But Baba does a different thing to see. Baba never does mistake. Okay, Baba is talking about God speaks. If everything is going in a natural process, overall, Baba's idea about writing this God speaks is if everything is going in a natural process. That's what he's talking about. That's why he mentioned 84 lakhs. Even in Padma Purana, this number is mentioned in the ancient
Mm.
script. But anyway, that's a deviation of it. But
Mm.
but we all know we don't have to go through all the involution path and sixth plane and experience everything, and then only we get God realization in human form. That's the one process, but there is a shortcut, right? That's what Baba says. Shortcut. Love me, love me, love me. Oh my God, how many times Baba tells us to love him? Why do we have to love him, right? So that we don't have to spend eons and eons, lifetimes through this process. In a one lifetime, we can reach the goal. That is the intention of Baba saying, love me, love me, love me. Forget yourself. Love me more than you can love yourself. Uh, but what is important for us to know here is we don't have to spend 84 lakhs, but we can do in a short while. Let's say we are the first human being after the human, after the animal. Let's say if we have the understanding, oh, my goal is to get God realization, and now I have to experience. Let me experience. So, what is an experience? You have you have some, you have thought comes. You go through the action. When the task is finished, the action is done. Right? When the action is done, the task is finished. That now if you re-evaluate, let's say we have that knowledge of, let me evaluate, how did I do this? I did this mistake, I didn't do this mistake, or what is the right way of doing this? Let's say we searched the internet and we found Baba, and Baba said, okay, this is what we have to do. Let's say we went on experiencing every action and evaluating our own experience and finding the correct way. I bet we can get within short while, we can get God revelation. But that is not the problem. The problem is we have the tools, we have the consciousness, we have the body, we have all the tools we have, but we do not have knowledge. We only have ignorance. So what we do is we go on going through as a king and as a beggar and as a happy person, as a depressed man. We go through all these different kinds of situations. Let's say we have gone through about 100 lifetimes. And if we evaluate in all these lifetimes, what are we missing? How can we progress spiritually? How can we do that? Then you go to the fundamentals of your nature. What are the fundamentals of nature? To be ability to love, to have the ability to focus, to have the ability to infinite patience, to have the tolerance, to have compassion. All these values, if we learn, oh, these are the things we are lacking. Let's work on those. Let's say we spent another 100,000 lifetimes. Then we get God relation. But that's not the case. So, over many, many lifetimes, we go through all these suffering and happiness. Somewhere along, we come across the knowledge hey, we are going through this because the soul absorbs all this knowledge and gives it to the heart. Somewhere along, the heart gives you, hey, look into this, you're enjoying this, but this is not permanent. Again, you're going through this experience of suffering that's not permanent. Then you look at the fundamentals. That is where we go on loving God and all that stuff happens. That's how we can cut short this 84 lakhs of lifetimes to less number. Yeah, Bob.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Ravi. 84 lakhs is the maximum, uh, you know, the, the maximum number of reincarnations. We can achieve realization, or we can reach our goal even before 84 lakhs. After 84 lakhs, uh, you are promised to get realization, but you can achieve it before that also. The maximum number is lakhs.
See, even if you take Baba lovers, how many Baba lovers do you think really read discourses and other literature and follow to the T everything Baba says, right? We can
Yeah.
observe that. It's very, very less people, very less number of people.
And if I may add to all members in the group, all our recordings and discussions are recorded in the Meher Baba Awakens channel, and it's worth going back to that. Jai Baba.
Yeah. How many people have the goal of getting union in this lifetime? Just when we talk about, let's start observing it. How many people have? A lot of people say, oh, that's not for us. Those are for the higher people. But unless we have that goal of union, we won't change our old methods. We want to. We don't like change. Every human being doesn't like change. We don't like change. That's the problem. That is the problem with
MOM
us.
is my goal, Ravi. I'm very clear.
Mm.
Minimum
For
ordinary
me, anything
movie.
is for me anything is fine. 1 is fine, 83 lakh is fine, 80 lakh is fine, 50 is fine. Anything is
Okay.
okay. Mm.
See, that may be a problem, sir.
That's a weak answer, sir. Yeah, I
See,
agree.
Baba,
Why?
yeah, weak answer.
Means
Yeah.
I can do
See,
my
Baba,
best. I can do my best, but why should I keep the goal, right? I should not keep the goal. I will do my best, and then let's Baba decide 1 birth, 50 birth, or 83 lakh births, right?
see, Baba,
Why
see,
should I
Baba,
keep the
Baba
goal?
asked, Baba asked this question. I got a vague information about this. I got to find out where it is and let you know. But vague, let me tell you the vague information. Baba said, uh, people who have goal, they can change much better than people don't have a goal. Oh, I love Baba. Oh, it doesn't matter. I lead with my life. That's one life. You'll go on going through this samsara cycle again and again. What is samsara cycle? You're born, you grow, you get educated, you get married, have children, raise them. You're all loving Baba, okay? You're all loving Baba, but you are be serious with all these things. You raise your children, get them married, have them get a job, raise grandchildren. You get old, you die. This is going to be normal. Oh, Baba will take care of it. Compared to the person asks Baba, Baba, I want union with you this lifetime. Who will be serious in doing loving part of it? The problem is I consciousness. That is one which is coming in the way from you experiencing Baba. Until that I consciousness is lowered, until you get rid of it. How do you get rid of it? Using the same I consciousness. So when a
Exactly.
thorn sticks to your feet, how do you get it out? You take another thorn, right? Try to take it out. So it's a tricky thing. That is what we need to learn. How can I lower my ego while still using my ego, focusing on getting union with Baba? And he will help you. He will help, believe me. He will ask him, Baba, I want union. He will respond, Jai Baba.
Yeah, just to
Okay, maybe.
add to that,
Effort, yeah.
Ashish. So if
Mhm.
why I feel that you need to think a little more about your answer is uh
Mhm.
what you are saying is anyway a fact. It is not in entirely in your control as to whether it's 1 or 84 lakh. But you have to recognize that uh what you're suggesting is almost like fatalistic, right? So I don't know, I'm just gonna go through the motions. That's not good.
No, no. What?
You have
No,
to
no, no. What
carry
I'm
out
saying.
what is there in discourses and what lead the life as Baba wants you to lead, and
Yeah,
then
that's
leave
what
it
I'm
at
saying.
his
Correct.
feet. Yeah.
Correct.
Then
Correct.
leave it at
Correct.
his feet.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. What
Okay.
I'm
Then it's
saying,
fine.
the views might be
Yeah.
different. No, no, no. What I'm saying, the views might, because
Mm,
if I'm just targeting, oh, I wanted everything in this birth, okay, that might be increase my ego. That's my personal opinion. Okay, I will follow
mm,
discourses. I
mm,
will follow Baba's all the orders. Everything I will
mm.
follow. But when I'm saying, oh no, everything I was just wanted in this life itself. Okay, I wanted mukti in this life. If you're getting, it's good. But if it's not, why to make that, keep that goal as my oh, I just wanted
That's
mukti in this
beautiful.
life itself, right? Let's do your
That
job.
becomes
Let's
a want.
do everything with Baba,
That
right?
becomes a
And then
want. That becomes a want in itself. Yeah, what Ashish is saying, I
Correct.
tend to agree.
Correct. Correct.
But on a little comic note, maybe on a lighter note, I think having come in Baba's orbit itself, I think we have crossed at least 83 lakh. I mean, I would tend to believe that we have just last mile that we have to run, and how fast we run is up to our own initiative and focus and sincerity and whatever word you want to use. Yeah, love for Baba. Jai Baba.
Oh my God, 83 lakh. What a life, huh?
Already
What a
done.
number of.
Already
That's
done.
what I'm saying.
Minimum.
But it just,
Minimum.
yeah.
Minimum done. Maybe
This is
Yeah.
more.
mind-boggling that you had to go through this 83 lakhs. Anyway,
No,
but I
interesting
like
thing
the analogy.
is,
It's a positive analogy to say that we are getting closer. Yeah, Ravi.
no, interesting thing is, see, we know with our life experiences, your life is much different if you have goals in your life. If you don't have any goals, you're like a paper in a storm. It is
this
going,
is this is
it goes to go
this
everywhere.
is again then rat race. Then we will be part of rat race again. The way which we are in the rat race right now in this world, I think again in the spirituality we're following the same rat race. Again, this is my personal
Yes,
view. I will not
yes, yes,
I will not
yes,
I
yes.
will
Correct,
not say
correct,
anything
correct.
again. Yeah.
Good
See,
one, good
whether
one,
you
good
are
one.
in a spiritual life or normal life, the ideal thing is to have a goal and follow the goal. Nothing wrong. Baba wants you to see what is Baba's job
See,
is to give a push to every human being. But
Ash,
most
uh,
importantly, whoever is ready to pull him into his neighborhood, right? He's ready.
right,
He
right.
is going
Ravi,
to.
the the goal
See,
could be to love Baba to follow him, you know. That's what I think Ashi's intent is to say. My goal is to love Baba, follow him, remember him all the time. That could be a goal, right? Without finally resulting into how many lives are left that I will meet the beloved. Once you are loving Baba, remembering him all the time, the goal is already set by him. You know, that's I think Ashi's intent of
yeah,
thinking.
saying,
yes, yes.
yeah, not
Yeah,
counting how
yeah.
many lives I have left. I just follow, love him, remember him all the time, meditate on him, call on him for
Yeah,
everything that I need to do.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dedicate
I,
all my
I think
efforts
we
to
have
him.
to.
That
Yeah,
that's I surrender my life to him, and then let
yeah,
him take care of the rest. I think that's
yeah.
that's one approach. Which I think I'm,
And to and there won't be any
Yeah,
difference in your life. You
yeah,
still
yeah.
have to have.
Is
You will
is
have
is
your own
both
children.
same? Yeah, it's both same. Yeah, okay, Baba.
Jai
So
Baba.
by the way, I think there is a little beautiful subtlety in Ashish's approach. So he's actually recognizing a negativity in being ambitious spiritually, right? If I were to understand him correctly, he's saying even the uh, goal orientation and aggressiveness in spiritual pursuit is a manifestation of ego. So I don't want that. I'll just follow Baba. I will just love Baba and leave the rest to him, which is very, very beautiful. I like that. Yeah, Ashok.
I was just saying that the number 6 of my wish, I mean, Namasmaran, keep remembering Baba, or let's say with every breath. I mean, with the breath you take in, Ba, and with the breath you take out, Ba, Baba. And if you do not forget to remember him in your last moments, you should always remember him. And if you remember him in your last moments, you reach Baba. So I think that's the practical, a very practical way of reaching our goals. Jai
Okay,
See,
let's.
we read that last prayer, right? Beloved God prayer. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more and more and more and still more till we become worthy of union with you. Till, okay? And help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman. We do this, just pay attention to that goal, just pay attention to the goal. I want to have, I'm not telling you, okay? I got to tell myself too. I'm just reminding all of us, including me. That way I can do that. I'm not any special. I'm bad too. So that when we read the prayer, if we pay attention to that union, nothing wrong in asking Baba, please give me union. I may be good or bad, but please help me to be fit for that. He'll help us. Jeva.
Actually, uh, actually,
Agreed,
it is
agreed,
more
Ravi,
towards
what you're saying. We always
surrender.
say in our prayers this word. Yeah.
No,
Till
the
we
way
become worthy of union with you.
Yeah, Mamaji.
the way I look at what I think was driving at as Baba says at the end, surrender. So do all the things what is required in life, but surrender to me. So he is not asking Baba anything, but he is surrendering to Baba.
Mm.
He is not going to fix on some goals to achieve or anything. Just leave it to him.
We also
Yeah.
need to develop that. What does it mean by to be surrendered? To surrender to Baba. That we can slowly develop that. It's not enough just to read everything about surrender overnight. It doesn't mean anything. But every word we have to put it in our system. That we can do only by meditating on that. Every action we do, we just have to think, have I surrendered this to Baba? Am I doing this to please myself or Baba? Am I doing this to please other person? Either that other person may be my boss or my wife or my children or my friend. But we have to do everything for Baba, to please Baba. We have to do things the way Baba likes us, to be honest. If we do that way, the surrenderance comes naturally. Irich, he told me about, when was that? 70s, when I met him. Four of us met him. I asked Urich, hey, Urich, how do I surrender? The words he spoke after so many years still rings in my head. Whenever the topic of surrender comes, the whatever Urich said rings. I mentioned this number of times here, but he said, "What is there? Surrender now. What happens in 1 hour? You might do something that you think, oh, I surrendered, but I didn't do anything. This is against that surrenderance. Then surrender again. Maybe you fail 100 times. Surrender 100 times because Baba never asked you to surrender once. No matter how many times you have to learn what is the meaning of surrender, you will learn and Baba will help you. This is exact the few sentences.
Words.
I am paraphrasing it, but that rings in my heart most of the time. Jai Baba.
Beautiful. So let's get back and go through the evolution. The soul is in the human form. He's going through the 84 lakhs. So let's help him reach the God state in our reading. Yeah, I'll continue.
Before you continue, I just
Sure.
one point. This 84 lakhs is in the human evolution, human reincarnation.
Correct.
So we also allude to another figure and sometimes get confused.
6.5 crores.
Very large figure. So that
6.5
includes,
crores.
yes,
That includes 84 lakhs.
but that number is the number from the stone to human form. And in the human form, it is 84 lakhs. That's how I look at it.
Correct.
Am
right.
I correct on that?
You're right. You're right. 6.5 crores and 84 lakh human births. 6.5 crores overall.
Yes. And the person who fails in the uh, fourth level has the sum together to go through once again.
Yes. Whether it is, yeah, he has to go back to stone. Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's a mathematical memory for us. So, because we tend to get confused when we are reading that suddenly in any uh, phrase or paragraph.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's continue. Up to the human form, the winding up of sanskaras becomes stronger and stronger during the process of evolution. In the human forms of reincarnation, the winding continues to operate as a limiting factor, but with every change of the human bubble or form, the tight twists gained during the process of winding gets loosened through 84 lakhs of shakings before they are ready to unwind in the process of realization. So the sanskaras actually get loosened up. Now there is a footnote. Many readers do not discern that Meher Baba customarily described the life cycle as evolution, reincarnation, involution, and the process of realization. Fearing the statement in the text above might seem contradictory to that in paragraph 3, page 176, we asked Erich for clarification. He replied, once one is on the planes of consciousness, the reincarnation process may be said to have come to its fag end. On the path leading to beloved God, the impatience to see Him and to be one with Him is intense. Such reincarnations as are necessary due to impressions burdening the consciousness seem almost nil when compared to 84 lakhs of shakings. So he's talking about after the involution process starts, right? They look very, very small, almost nil when compared to the 84 lakhs of shakings. Let's continue. Now begins the third process of realization, which is a process of ascent. Here, the drop soul undergoes the gradual unwinding of the sanskaras. During this process of unwinding, the sanskaras become fainter and fainter, and at the same time, the consciousness of the drop soul gets directed more and more towards itself, and thus the drop soul passes through the subtle and mental planes till all the sanskaras disappear completely, enabling it to become conscious of itself as the ocean. In the infinite ocean of the oversoul, big O, big S, You are the drop or the soul. You are the soul in the ordinary state, and you use your consciousness in seeing and experiencing the bubble or the form. Through the gross layer of the bubble, you experience that part of the huge gross bubble, which is the earth. You are eternally lodged and indivisibly one with the oversoul, but you do not experience it. In the advanced stage, up through the third plane, you use your consciousness in seeing and experiencing the huge subtle bubble called the subtle world. Through the subtle bubble or form called the subtle body, but you do not see and experience the oversoul which you are in, since your consciousness is not now directed towards the oversoul. In the advanced stage, from the fourth through the sixth plane, you use your consciousness in seeing and experiencing the huge mental bubble, which is called the mental world. Through the mental bubble or form, which is called the mental body, but even now you do not experience the oversoul. But in the God realized state, you continually use your consciousness for seeing and experiencing the oversoul, and then all the forms are known as being nothing but bubbles. So now picture yourself as the soul drop, lodged in the oversoul behind 5 layers after the gross body. You, the soul drop, are now looking at the gross body and through it at the gross world. When you look at the second layer and through it, the first layer will appear to you as nothing but a layer only. And thus, looking behind each layer, you will find all these layers as only your shadow covers. And finally, when you, that is the drop soul, look at and get merged in the oversoul, you realize that only you were real, and all that you were seeing and experiencing till now was your own shadow and nothing else. So let's just see, what does the diagram say in all this. So the sanskaras become fainter, then okay. The other thing to notice is the circle with the S in it, the soul, that also indicates the size or the strength of the consciousness. So that remains the same. No, I think the consciousness is represented by the blue arrow.
Yes,
So
blue.
yeah, blue arrow. So the
And
blue
that
arrow goes
increases.
on increasing, but after coming to the human form, the size remains the same.
It's the same.
Yeah, till you get to the last one. Okay, let's go back.
But one
Explanations.
question remains with that diagram. The
Sure.
blue coat is the consciousness. Yes, is this soul? Are they single or different?
Are they single or are they different?
Yes.
The consciousness is linked to the soul.
Yes,
The
there are
experience.
different schools of thought on this also. Okay.
So let's go back to what we agree upon whenever we read the word soul. So when we read the word soul, the soul, if we take the definition as it is in the oversoul, that's the whole thing. The complete thing is oversoul. If you see here, even here it says oversoul. The whole thing is oversoul, right? So when we are loosely referring to soul, individualized soul, bubble, you and me, all of that, we are actually referring to consciousness of the soul, because the soul itself is the oversoul, if I am making sense. So when you read discourses or God speaks or refer to soul, small s SOUL, anywhere, anytime. It is actually consciousness of the soul. In that sense, the blue arrow and the round white S are actually one and the same. More than one and the same. The consciousness changes, but the soul is unchanging. It's unaffected.
Karthik, can I
Yeah, please go ahead.
see there is a small soul and a big soul, right?
Correct.
And we are very clear about big soul. Big soul is God. But only thing is that big soul is unconscious part of the God. That we have to understand. And the small soul includes the big soul. Along with that, there are a few more things attached to that. What they are our subtle body, mental body, and eye consciousness. These together, and physical body, of course. Physical form, subtle body, astral body, subtle body, mental body, and eye consciousness together with the soul is called a human jiva. I think we have to clearly understand that. Small soul consists of all these things. What changes, what happens in reincarnation is all these things are same except physical body. All these things, subtle body, mental body, eye consciousness, and of course sanskaras.
The question Mamaji has is, what is consciousness and what is soul, and how are they linked?
A small soul, let's understand the small soul. Consciousness is I consciousness. I am. That is the product of unconscious part of the God. See, right now you are conscious, right? We are listening to, we are participating in these teams, talking about God speaks. Everyone is conscious of it. And we have certain knowledge. It's all ignorance. This knowledge is all ignorance. As we get knowledgeable, as we become love more and more, at one point, let's say Baba grabbed us. Then we are going away from the consciousness becomes one with the unconsciousness becomes one with the consciousness. That is where all the sanskaras are gone at that point. I-ness will not change. I changes to universal consciousness. I remains. Only mind goes. Mind is nothing but a receptacle of sanskaras. So consciousness is not the whole soul. Consciousness is I consciousness. This subtle body, mental body, I consciousness, and the big soul together is called jiva. Jiva.
Agreed?
Think about it. Think about it.
Yes.
Jeva, Karthik, which are the blue arrows you are saying? Can you just point the cursor on blue arrows?
Yeah.
You were mentioning blue arrows. Which are those blue?
This one. So if you see here, increasing consciousness, small arrow becomes big arrow, becomes bigger, becomes bigger, becomes bigger, to a point where it is the biggest. From that point, it remains the same till you go to the God state.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so I think this was a fascinating read today, and it's the divine theme is a concise explanation of all of Baba's cosmology and the biography of the soul. It's God speaks in 2 pages, right? So I'm glad we went through this in detail and slowly. We're still not done. We will get back to it in the coming week and finish it. Let's catch up again on next Sunday to continue from this point. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher
Jai
Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, Jai Baba.